Hello. So we are going to be doing a Q&A all about Miss Ruby Roo, my Roo Bear. So that's what this is going to be about. This little goofball. Just goofball. All you want to know. So I've got a paper with a list of questions on it. So question 1 is, what breed is Ruby? So this puppy is an Australian Labradoodle, medium. So Australian Labradoodle is the name just because it originated in Australia, but she is a mix of 5 breeds. She's being super goofy. So she's a mix of 5 breeds. So she is Poodle, Labrador Retriever, Curly Coated Retriever, Cocker Spaniel, and Irish Water Dog, or Irish Water Spaniel. And so that's her breed. Those are the mixes. And she is about 30 pounds. So she's 30 pounds, and I don't know how tall. I haven't measured her how tall, but she's quite a goofy looking dog. She's very thin, just how she is. Like, she's eating fine and nothing else. She just has a very thin stature to her. The way she's built is silly. She's super long legs, but very thin. And it's so funny because when she jumps, her back end doesn't connect to her front end, so she looks all goofy. It's hilarious. It's something she's done from a puppy. What are her tasks? So, Ruby, you're being so silly. So Ruby is a service dog in training, so she doesn't have all of her tasks that she's learning yet. She's still learning, so she doesn't have everything. But what she knows right now are primarily psychiatric tasks for my anxiety, my moods, and things like that to help. So some of her tasks include deep pressure therapy, licking or stimulation to disassociation, alerting to anxiety, like rising anxiety, things like that, and self-harm, or like some little things that I do, so like picking at scabs or scratching when I'm stressed, things like that she alerts to. And a lot of her alerts are jumping up on me. And the reason why is because if I'm going into high anxiety, I tend to disassociate. So little things like a nose touch or a little paw won't get me out of whatever I'm dealing with. So she jumps up to as high as she can reach, which usually is around right here, sometimes a little higher. And she'll lick and paw and everything to get my attention. And then that's when I know I gotta sit down and let her do her job. And so she also knows find help. And so what that means is when we are in a store or we're somewhere else and I'm starting to have an anxiety attack or a panic attack or whatever, I'll tell her find help, and she will bring me to whoever I'm with, whether it be my mom, my aunt, my friend, anyone, and she'll bring me to them so that they can either help me get my rescue emergency medication or just to sit with me to help calm me down, that kind of thing. The other thing she knows is out. Out is a task that we use quite frequently if, for example, I just need to get out of a situation. So if I'm in a store and I'm panicking and I go to my mom or my friend or my aunt or whatever, and I'm still not really getting better, and the best thing to help me is to get me out of the situation, i.e., example, like out of the store, she knows how to lead me out. So that's another important one. Essentially, that's what it is. Those are her tasks. She is going to be this girl, she's learning more tasks though. Like, she's not done. She is learning retrievals, so that the hope is that if I'm at home, she'll be able to eventually go and get me a water to help with a panic attack, or go get me an ice pack or freeze or something. Some of my skills that I use to help get out of anxiety attacks and things like that. Or get me like a snack or something like that to kind of help. She will also be learning, which is quite new, we haven't even started it yet with our trainer, but we will be starting to teach her hearing alerts, because I'm hard of hearing, so I can hear, but there's a certain point where I don't hear, And so for me, that's high pitch. Ignore my arm, by the way. I banged it up pretty bad at a hotel, and we're just kind of, yeah. But basically, there's a certain frequency, above a certain frequency, that my ears just don't hear. I just can't hear it. It doesn't, I don't know what happens. So the problem with that is that frequency relates to sirens of emergency vehicles, alarms, whether it be a smoke detector, carbon monoxide detector, alarms on the phone, alarms on the TV, microwave alarms, oven alarms, anything like that. Alarms I don't hear. Like clock alarms, I use a vibrating alarm, and that even sometimes doesn't wake me up. Knocks on the door, if they're quiet enough, I just don't hear them. Things like that could actually be potentially very dangerous. Like, for example, if when I'm living on my own, let's say, and I have a smoke detector, if a smoke alarm goes off, I won't hear it. So that could be potentially very dangerous for myself in a situation like that. And so for Ruby to be able to wake me up in the night if it happens, or come and get me and let me know something's going on, that's going to be amazing for me, for my independence. I'm pretty sure that will be done either with a nose touch or a paw, and I'm very excited about that because it's just gonna help so much. Okay, the next one is what type of service dog is Ruby? Ruby is a multi-purpose service dog. So people kind of go bit to bit. It's very broad what people consider each group of service dog. Guide dogs, hearing dogs, medical alert dogs, psychiatric service dogs, things like that. Some people consider psychiatric service dogs medical alerts. Some people consider hearing dogs medical alerts. I personally just consider her a multi-purpose. So she does psychiatric tasks as well as medical alerts for my hearing. And she also does some guides. So she's kind of a bit of a bunch of stuff. But the guide is related to psych. So I guess that's more psychiatric. So she's kind of like a mix. So that's why I call her a multi-purpose service dog. But primarily the names, if you want to put her name brand on her, psychiatric medical alert, because I do consider the hearing alerts that she'll be learning to be medical, considering hearing is a medical condition. Hearing impairment is a medical condition. Just like one of my friends is deaf. Medical condition, she's deaf. That kind of thing. So I do consider it medical alert. Some people don't, so it varies who depends on what. So that's just my personal opinion on what she is. Next question. How old is Ruby? So Ruby is 1 year and 2 months old. September, almost 3 months old. So she was born June 24th. Yeah, June 24th. I'm sorry, I don't know her birthday. I have it on my calendar. Her birthday is June 24th. I'll say what it actually is right here. I'll put a little thing right here and say her birthday. But her birthday, I believe, is June 24th. And so she's 1 year and 2 months, almost 3 months. And she was adorable as a puppy. I'll probably put in some puppy photos and videos right here because I have a lot of them from when she was younger. Which goes back to the next question, which is photos of her puppyhood. I will put them in here. We got Ruby at 8 weeks old from a reputable breeder for doodles. They have multiple accreditations with doodle, Labradoodle associations and things like that. They did health testing throughout the mom's pregnancy with the puppies. They did health testing from the get-go when the puppies were born all the way up to when we got them. And they did temperament testing, and they've actually had other puppies in their litters be service dogs, so they knew what we were looking for. We found them through a trainer that we went through to help find the proper people to find a puppy from for service work. And so that's how we found them. And so throughout the birth and until we figured out which puppy was ours, we got photos every week of the puppies, how they were growing, when they were born, what they looked like, that kind of thing. And Ruby was the biggest girl. She was the purple collar puppy. And that's why she still has a purple collar. I tend to like to keep the theme of the puppy's collar on. So she's purple. We obviously have other gear that we use, but I like to keep purple in it somehow. And so she was a purple collar puppy. She came to us when she was 8 weeks old. She was 8 pounds. And every week she gained a pound. So it was quite funny. 9 weeks old, she was 9 pounds. 10 weeks old, she was 10 pounds. 11 weeks old, she was 11 pounds. It was quite funny. And then eventually, so now she's about 30 pounds. This is like, she's pretty much done growing right now. And she was just such a crazy puppy. So she got spayed at 5 months. Now, I know there's going to be some controversy on that. We just went with what our vet said because, again, like, we don't know a ton about it. So we kind of just went with what our vet recommended, which he always does the dogs at 5 months. So that's just kind of what we went with. And that's just what we went with. We went with what our vet suggested. And that's kind of just how we roll right now. And yeah, I don't really know what else to show, but I'll just show a bunch of videos and stuff. I'll do like a montage of videos and things. Next, school. So up until this whole virus thing, Ruby started coming with me to school at 6 months old. So at 6 months old, she was potty trained. We figured she could handle some of my classes. She came to counseling sessions with me at school therapy sessions, and regular therapy sessions. And she seemed to do pretty good. And she came to my film class. It was great socialization. And so that's when she started coming to school with me. It was at 6 months. And now that everything's online, I have my desktop computer, so I actually do Zoom through there. And she usually either stays in her crate, so she's out of the way, or I have a bed that's under my desk, and she'll sleep there either. Like, depending on how I feel. If I feel quite stressed, I'll have her sleep under the bed in case she needs to alert or do DPT or anything like that. But if I'm feeling okay, like I'm just like, I got this, it's not a long thing, I'll put her in the crate. For upcoming classes, it's going to be a bit tricky because my class is 9 hours on Mondays of one class, just 9 hours. And I know, she hates it. Look at her. But yeah, so it's 9 hours. So I'm not sure how we're gonna manage that. We'll see. She'll probably spend it under my desk, but I will have to take breaks from it to, like, take her out to the bathroom, give her some food, get myself some food, things like that. Okay, and the final question, training. So this is different from the task because I think this is more directed to how I'm training Ruby. So I'm training on a mix of positive and negative enforcement. So she does get consequences. She does something bad, nothing over the top. Obviously, the most she gets is a stern talk to, like a stern no or a little correction if we're on a walk. If she does something really bad, the worst that I would do is put her in the crate for a minute or two and then take her out. And obviously when she does something good, she gets lots of praise, lots of cuddles, lots of kisses, lots of treats, things like that. And so I'm training her myself, but I am getting guidance from trainers. So I started off with one trainer since before we got Ruby, and we worked with him until the whole outbreak and quarantine and stuff. The problem with that was he doesn't do virtual. He only does in person. And with my family being all high risk, we couldn't take that chance. So I started trying to find a new person to do training with. So I got on the wait list for Canine Matters, which Claire is the trainer. And so I got on the wait list of there as soon as possible because they had great reviews. I follow Claire on Instagram. I follow her on all of her social medias, on YouTube. Like, I was following Claire on YouTube before I even got a service dog to help understand and figure out what was best for me. And I used her videos to help explain it to my mom and stuff. It was amazing. So Claire is Service Angel Percy. I'll put their info here because they're amazing. And so we got on the wait list for there in January, or January, February kind of thing. Basically, I got to a point where I didn't know how to train farther than what I knew. And because this is my first dog training, like for service work. And so it got to the point where she was doing her alerts fine. She was guiding fine. She was doing her DPT. She was doing her blocking. Oh, that's another thing she does. She does blocking. All those things were perfectly fine. But I didn't know how to train the hearing, and I didn't know how to train the retrievals. And that's where I needed help. So I started messaging around and finding trainers and figuring out who I wanted to go with until I got with Claire. And so I found this one trainer, and she was amazing. We did 2 sessions or 3 sessions, and she was great. She helped me figure out how to do middle, which is a task that now Ruby does quite frequently, and it helps Ruby, if she gets overwhelmed, she can go between my legs and use it as like a block to kind of separate herself from whatever's overwhelming her. I use it as a grounding tool so I can tell her middle, and she'll come in the middle and I'll just pet her and it'll help with my grounding. We also use it in stores. So if we're in like the grocery store where now it's only one way direction for the aisles, I use middle so her tail and her body can't get like hit by carts trying to pass us or people or things like that. So she's out of the way. Same thing at cash registers, like at paying for things, she does middle to avoid getting stepped on or anything. So it's a great thing. Then I got the email that they had space for me at Canine Matters, and I was over the moon. So we had our first meeting, and we kind of talked and told her about Ruby, what she does, what she needs to learn, what she is, breeding, that kind of thing. And we went on like that, and so we've had 1 session, and we started working on retrievals, so we're working on that. We're also working on some gear shyness, because she gets quite nervous around like big harnesses and stuff, which is to be expected. Like they're big, they're clunky, they're a bit heavier than vests, which is fine. So we're working on that, and then hopefully soon we will also start to work on the hearing alerts, learning how to do that and how to work with that, which is going to be amazing. So that's who I'm going with. I am owner training myself, but I'm also getting support and guidance from trainers because this is my first time. So that's where that question goes. That's all the questions, so we're good. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll put our information down here or in the description so you can check them out, that kind of thing. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any other questions you want to ask, or you want us to do a future Q&A, let me know. You can message it in the comments. That'd be amazing. I'd enjoy it. We are actually right now getting ready to do another Q&A for me and Noelle, rather than just one all about Ruby. And so we're getting ready for that. So if you have any questions that you want to put in that as well, that works too. Thanks. Bye.